everybody. Welcome to Hey, We're Talking. It's a podcast, and we've got a guest today. Did you know that? Bob, did you know we have a guest?
I heard a rumor about that.
He kind of looks like you.
Not really.
A little bit, I think.
I don't know.
It feels like...
He's like 3 feet tall.
Anyway, we have Rage the Lunatic with us. Rage, how you doing, man?
I am doing wonderful. It's Hey, We're Talking, and I'm honored to be here, guys. I really appreciate it. Scott, Derek, my brother Bob. Derek,
Yeah,
you're the
see,
best.
I knew it.
You're the best looking guy on the show, Derek.
What?
Scott,
Man.
you're the best. Scott, you're the best talker, and Bob is like Mr. Numbers.
Yeah, he is.
I'm the
And I
best
dig it.
brother on the show.
He is.
So,
You are
ha-ha.
the best.
You
Well,
are.
it's both ways. Can
Yeah.
it be both or
Right.
no? Okay, good.
Well, I can. To him, I'm the best brother
Yeah.
on the show.
Of course. And to
You're the Matt to my Jeff Hardy, Bob.
nice, dude. When they came back, that was
I thought
epic.
I was hoping to be Marty Jannetty. What are you talking about?
Why, you want me to super kick you on the barber shop?
Uh-oh, these guys are gonna. Derek, you really might not get to talk because these guys
That's
know
fine.
they know all sorts of stuff about wrestling, and you and I are just gonna be like,
Maybe I do know some
Oh!
wrestling stuff.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
we've been talking wrestling all week, and Derek's done a very good job. So
I know. So anyway, here's the deal. We knew Rage has a podcast also. What's the name of your podcast? Because I don't want to say it wrong. I want everybody to know what it is.
Shooting with Rage. No
Shooting
G.
with Rage.
Shooting with
Yeah, there you
Rage.
go. It's Shooting with Rage if you're in the South, like me. Okay, so Rage is a dude who knows about wrestling. He's got experience. He knows what's going on in that world. And we've been talking about wrestling. And there just so happens to be a WWE event on Sunday night. It's Summer Slam. And what's the main card, Bob? Say it. Who are they? This is going to be fun.
well, you're gonna have the. I joked before the show, and I called it the fecal matter 4-way.
Why would you
God.
say that?
It's probably
don't
what
know.
it's going to wind up being, to be honest, guys. But
The,
go ahead, Bob.
the fatal 4-way. The Universal Championship is really the headliner here. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and Braun Strowman.
Okay, but you said somebody else before that because I was like, that must be the international belt because it was like Gupta Madubi or something like that.
I mean, do you really want me to get
What's the
through
name of the
whole-
people? Say it. No,
the
just the
whole,
people
uh,
you said.
You're talking about Tenzai or whatever, probably. Or...
Yeah.
The WWE Championship, which is, what is it, Jinder Mahal
Jinder Mahal,
and
some kind of Asian name.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke Nakamura, very highly decorated wrestler out of Japan.
Look at that.
New
Yeah.
Japan Pro Wrestling, IWGP out of Japan. Very highly decorated globally, all around the world.
See?
Big match. Jinder Mahal, pretty much Jinder Mahal's honestly, guys, the champion because WWE made a deal in India to get on television. So they wanted to market an Indian wrestler to tap into the market in India. And that's
There
why
you go.
Jinder Mahal, if you look at Jinder Mahal's record, he's lost about 600 matches and won like 140. I actually looked this up.
That's
This was what-
reminding me of like Barry O and one of those
and,
guys.
Brooklyn Brawler.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Hey, Brooklyn Brawler was awesome, though. Come on. He was
Steve
you know.
Lombardi, Hall of Fame in his own right. That's for sure.
Okay, before we get too deep into the show, I do want to mention everybody, and I'll keep this really brief, I'll give it the time that it deserves. The show is brought to you by Gamefly.com. We've got a special relationship with them, and they're going to give you a special offer. So what we'd like you to do is go to GameflyOffer.com. Is it / or backward slash? Is it backward or forward?
Whatever slash you usually use.
Yeah,
This
the
is
one
one
that
you
you,
always use.
it's. I think it's / HWT. So that's GameflyOffer.com / HWT. You get 30-day free trial where you'll get one game sent to you. You can play it until you're bored with it, send it back, get another game. It's they also have movies and stuff too. We really started to dive into some of that stuff last week. We wanted to give you the full breadth and depth of what Gamefly is. That's why we talked about it a lot on the show. So go to GameflyOffer.com / HWT. That's Hey We're Talking, but just do the HWT. Don't write out Hey We're Talking.
No,
Because it looks
that's
weird, and it's a lot of typing. It's another one of those things that once we did the show, I thought Bob and I came up with this name. We were like, oh, that's a great name. And then I thought, man, when you type that, it's so annoying. It's too many words. But
you got that sky comma.
And you got the apostrophe in there. You got, if you do it right, you've got hey, comma, WE apostrophe RE. And then we do talking and exclamation point. So there's a lot of extra stuff going on in there.
I can't believe you're just gonna glide right over that sky comment that
it's sky comma
comment that
sky comma
that Derek threw out there. That was amazing.
That was gold.
But that's what makes it great is I just let it happen. I didn't go back to it and go, ha ha. Remember when Derek said sky comma? He put it in there. It was perfectly.
There was no chuckle. There was nothing from you. We laughed.
I laughed inside a lot.
Hey,
Slam! Hey, is Doink the Clown still wrestling?
Oh, poor Doink.
Unfortunately, he passed away a couple years ago.
Oh. Derek, you brought the whole show down. Doink is dead.
I was just asking.
Unfortunately, if you ever talk old school wrestling, unfortunately, about 70% of them have passed away under the age of 45. It's really
sad. It's really
Probably
sad.
the chronic traumatic encephalopathy that's afflicting all the football
What
players.
is happening?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Our registered nurse has weighed in.
Safeguards in place. That's why there's new safeguards in place, and probably they're trying to crack down on the steroids. But that's. Sorry, I was just trying to get out of the commercial. Let's go.
I was done with the commercial. You brought it back up again. What'd you do that for? Now I have to say, gameflyoffer.com/HWT. 30-day free trial.
Be sure you do the / a backslash will take you to the dark web.
It will. You'll go on the dark web, and then you'll find out all sorts of horrible things. Anyway, all right. So, speaking of wrestling and people that were the wrestlers that have passed away and stuff, I got interested again in wrestling because I used to like it back in the day, but I got interested in it a little bit again because of Diamond Dallas Page and the stuff that he was doing with his yoga, and then helping out Jake the Snake, and then Scott, what's his name? What's the Scott guy?
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall. Dude, did you watch any of that stuff? How he helped those guys? It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Jake
amazing.
the Snake, there's a documentary on Netflix
Yeah.
called The Resurrection of Jake Roberts, which is fantastic. And WWE released the Scott Hall story, which is fantastic. Some of the stuff that guy went through, even back in the 70s, he was actually almost in jail for murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to go watch that. Very interesting.
Scott Hall, actually, I was more drawn to his story than I was to Jake's. But both of them, the stuff that Dallas did with them, that was just awesome. I mean, I think the main thing with Scott was he was just completely gone, dude. It wasn't that he was his body was broken down, but Jake was just like full on addict and stuff. And as soon as Dallas called Scott, he was just like, "Hey man, I want to take care of you. Want to come and live with me for a while?" And he was like immediately yes.
Yeah.
And then Scott never looked back. Like Jake had some things where he fell again and got into drinking and stuff again, but Scott, man, dude, he kicked butt. And I think his son is now a wrestler, right?
Yeah, Cody Hall. He's in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now, actually.
Okay.
It makes
one of the.
What's that?
No, that's a WWE trademark, so they can't technically use that.
Here's what's crazy, and to think about this, because I watched Scott Hall a lot growing up through my teenage years, all that stuff. Just to think the fact that he's 58 years old.
Yeah.
And now he looks it. I mean, he looks his age now more than ever.
Those guys actually looked older than they were, though, before Dallas got a hold of them. I mean, they looked like they were in their late 60s, dude. I mean, Scott was in a wheelchair. Just crazy stuff, dude.
Dallas has done amazing work. He's helped Mick Foley, if you know who he is, Mankind Cactus Jack. That guy's dropped about 200 pounds. He looks fantastic right now. Yeah. All by doing DDP. Chris Jericho, he plugs it on his podcast as well.
Yep.
About how he does. And
he
he's
had
in
all
the best
sorts of
shape
back
of his
problems,
life.
right?
Yeah, he's in the best shape of his life at 45. He's touring with his band and wrestling.
Yeah, I was going to say he came back during the. I'm trying to remember which one was that. It was recently where he came back with the Hardy Boys and all that. Which event was that? I can't remember.
It was just a couple weeks ago. Backlash, I think, or one of them.
Yeah. Bob, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I don't remember now. It was just coming off of. Oh, Chris Jericho. You know, you do a podcast. If you want to be on our podcast, you're welcome to. That'd be awesome.
I'd love to just talk to that guy for 5 minutes. One of my favorite people in the industry ever.
Derek, what do you think of Chris Jericho? See, I'm going to involve you. What do you like?
I remember. I haven't really like actively watched wrestling for about 10 years, but I remember him.
Yeah, J2. Was it J2K? Is that what it was?
Y2J.
Y2J. There you go.
He came in the year 2000 to WWE. And what's funny is me and my best friend at the time, my buddy Jay, we actually got last-minute tickets to the Monday Night Raw, and that's the night Chris Jericho showed up and confronted The Rock for the first time. He left WCW and came over to Raw, and we were actually there that night. It was really cool.
Bob
really
knows
cool.
Jay. Bob knows Jay, right? Does Bob know Jay?
Correct.
Yeah, way to go, Bob. You know Jay.
Yeah, I call him
Shout
Lunatic.
out to Jay. What
That's
do
his
you
name,
call him?
Lunatic.
Lunatic.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his nickname.
Okay. So, all right. Let's talk a little bit about SummerSlam. That's what we got Rage here for today. We want to talk to him about it. We want to get up to speed because we don't know anything anymore. We're old and we haven't been watching very much, so we need some help. Bob, what do you want to ask? Your deepest, darkest secret. Just share it.
What do you mean, what do I want to ask? I'm looking up pictures of Mick Foley being skinny.
Okay. So in the SummerSlam thing, what is this how many events do they do that are big every year? Do they do like one every month? Do they do, because it used to seem like they did one a month.
Now they have a brand split because they bought out all their competition years ago when they bought World Championship Wrestling. So they had to do some kind of thing to make the shows compete with each other. So Vince put his son and daughter each in charge of one show, and they're competing for ratings, just kind of like how they did with WCW back in the day. So there's two brands. There's a tag team title on each show. There's a women's champion on each show. There's a title, there's titles on each show.
Okay.
So
they still do Raw and SmackDown as the main things then, or what do they do? Correct.
And they do 2 pay-per-views a month now.
Wow.
Each brand has their own pay-per-view. So pretty much it seems like every 2 to 3 weeks you're getting a pay-per-view on the network for, $10 a month or whatever.
That is insane. Yeah, I was going to say that's the main thing though. If you really are into wrestling, you just got to get that WWE app because it's only $10 a month. You get to see everything, right?
Everything. You can go back to the 70s. You can watch old AWA. I mean, you can go way back.
Nice.
Well, Rage, do you think that that's too much? Because I remember like about 10 years ago, I was in Iraq as a contractor, and for the American Forces Network, we were allowed, they gave us for free all the pay-per-views for wrestling and all the pay-per-views for the UFC. So for about a year there, me and all my coworkers, we would religiously watch wrestling. We would watch Raw, we would watch SmackDown, and we'd watch the pay-per-view. And it seemed like the pay-per-views would only be like once every, 6 weeks to 2 months.
See, that's...
And then the show would build the storylines up to that point, but it doesn't feel like you can draw out a lot of the drama if you've got 2 pay-per-views a month. So what do you think about that?
Well, back in those days, you're right. There were less pay-per-views. They had the main ones. They had Royal Rumble in January. Then you had WrestleMania. You had Survivor Series and SummerSlam. That was the big 4 that they used to do. And way back in the day, in the early 90s, the Hogan era, that's all that they had as far as pay-per-views. Then they started slowly introducing more. Now, I mean, they just named a pay-per-view Great Balls of Fire recently. I mean, come on. Really? You know why they did that?
Why?
Literally, it went to the public. The reason that name was picked, someone said it in a meeting, and Vince McMahon thought it was funny.
Wow.
We're going to go with that.
Yeah, now that we only charge people $10 a month for the app, let's just make as many of them as we can.
Go look at the logo. It started quite an uproar. Let's just say that.
That's what Vince likes to do. Vince likes to do that. It's I think the best thing this year that I've enjoyed is the video that has come back in meme form of Donald Trump slamming I think it's Vince at one of the events and people putting CNN's face on it. That made me laugh.
That's pretty good.
Come on, nothing from these two? See, whenever I talk politics, they get all on my case. You've heard the show, right? So you know.
Well, maybe one of them will fall ill one day, and you'll need a replacement for the day, Scott. I got your back.
Yeah! Whoa, man, the gauntlet has been thrown.
So I'm going to throw this out.
He's just trying to bait us, Bob. Don't fall.
Oh, I know. I'm not going to fall for it. So here's the funny thing.
Yeah,
so going back to what Rage said about the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, if I just Googled it while we're on here. So if you look at it, it says Great Balls of Fire, and it's got 2 flaming balls coming out, but then the fire is kind of shaped like a penis.
Oh, that's not
So
good.
you've got right where it says the word balls, there's a big flame, and then it goes up into 2 flame balls, and it looks like a large penis right in the middle of their thing.
Why would
And
they
I
do that?
promise-
There's so many kids in the audience. I mean, it's funny, but at the same time, aren't there like tons of kids that go to these things?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, well, now, especially now, it's more directed towards kids again. You
Oh
know,
my
and that's why the ratings are down as well. Everybody that loved the wrestling back in the day is when it was more adult oriented. Now it's more
Yeah.
for kids, and it's
I just looked it up, Bob.
Everybody's looking at it except for me. So,
I told you, Derek.
Stupid,
That's
dude.
some Little Mermaid.
I know
cover stuff.
exactly.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But back in the day, you're right. I think that was the main thing. When I was working at a church youth group at the time that I got into wrestling, because there was a couple of guys that also helped out with this youth group, and they were really into wrestling, and they kind of were like, dude, you should watch it right now. It's so good. There's this guy Stone Cold. There's this guy The Rock, and blah, 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 all this stuff. And so I was like, oh, they're so stupid. But they would want to come over, and we would watch Monday Night Raw, or we'd watch SmackDown, and all of a sudden I was like, this is freaking amazing, dude. The storylines were so good. And then we went to a Sunday night show. What do they call those back then? So they had Raw on Mondays and then SmackDown on Thursday, but there was like a Sunday night show they would do. It was only like I can't remember.
Oh, Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah, Sunday
Yeah.
Night Heat. So they would do like an hour. It was only an hour show. Good call on that one, Rage. So they would do an hour show, but they did it at Joe Louis Arena. So they do the show, and then after, like, we were all excited because we thought some big names were going to come out. And Rock did come out and say something, okay? But then after the show was over, all of a sudden you just hear dun, 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 and so Stone Cold comes out, and then Rock comes out, and they did a match for us just like off air, just for fun. It was so awesome. It was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life, and they did not hold back. I mean, they gave it their all, even though the TV
You know what they call
cameras
that
weren't on.
when they do a television show at a TV taping that's not on the air?
What?
A house show?
That is what they call a dark match.
Dark match.
Ooh.
Dude. See, this is what's so fun. We're learning all the
Seems dark.
background. It is dark. But that
So
was
if-
great.
If you are a huge fan of WWE, don't bother purchasing their stock, because their stock has been struggling as of late, and the 5-year outlook on their stock, if you purchased it today, you really wouldn't make any money. So don't bother with that.
I got a better chance of making money on my podcast than I do as a WWE stockholder right now.
I don't
Go
know.
Mad Money Bob.
I don't know why we're talking about stocks, but that's interesting.
Well, just because
That's
I'm
new.
looking up a little bit of information here, and I mean, their stock at the highest was $21.21 a share.
That's
today
the
it's,
highest. What is it at now?
$20.90 a share. So
That's still a lot of money. I wouldn't buy it for $20.
yeah, but I mean, the 5-year projection, I mean, it's basically going to be flat.
Okay.
So
well, thanks
Yeah,
for
but is it
letting
going
us
to
know.
earn any dividends that you can reinvest with?
the dividend yield is 2.3%.
Can I put it in
so,
my IRA?
I mean, there is.
Can I get a used
opportunity there.
turnbuckle while I wait as a commemorative item?
There you go. See, I want some signed memorabilia if I'm going to invest.
Some
Yeah.
stinky jock straps or something.
Yeah, something, dude. I want a
I
beer
haven't.
can that Stone Cold smashed on somebody, like when he clinged them together and beer went
Yeah.
everywhere.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
You guys ever
Derek-
do that?
No.
You ever take 2 beers and just go out in the front yard? Seriously, do yourself the favor, Scott. You'll thank me. You're like, man, I feel so good after that. You have to shower, but it's a really good feeling.
Yeah,
really
see, I won't do it because a lot of my beer's like $3 a can.
No, we have to do it with like
Instead of-
Coors Light or something. You can't do it with
Well,
the
let me
good
know.
stuff.
Somebody send me 2 Coors Lights and I'll go do it. I'm not going to
I'm
spend.
not buying
I'm not going to spend the money on that crap.
I got a great story my neighbor told me the other day. It was so hilarious, but I'm not going to share it because you guys will.
Are we gonna
pick
go over
on
the
me.
card or no?
What's that? Yeah, we
Are
should.
we
Bob,
sure?
go through some of this stuff so we can get the inside scoop on these people. He told us about the international thing. That was interesting. Well, it was not an international match, but you know what I'm saying. The getting the Indian guy to wrestle so that they could get into the market over there. Okay, so the main one, we know those guys, except for the very last guy you said. I don't know him. Stromer or something like that.
Braun Strowman.
Strowman.
Yeah. Yep.
He's an up and comer. He's a beast, man. The guy's
Okay.
like 6'5", 6'6", 350 pounds, just straight brute. Most dominating wrestler we've seen in a long time.
I just want
outside
to
of
know.
Brock Lesnar.
I just want to know if the Big Show's still there.
He is.
Okay.
The Big Show.
Okay, who else is
So,
on?
The United States Championship, AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens. AJ Styles, formerly of ECW and all
No.
kinds of other stuff. Yes.
Uh-oh.
TNA.
Oh, wasn't he in ECW at one point?
Oh.
TNA original.
Oh.
Sorry, brother.
TNA.
Actually, AJ Styles is probably one of the best in the world. He's another one in world-renowned all over the world, Japan. He had a chance to come to WWE a long time ago and turned it down because he knew he could make more money in the independent scene. Now he's getting older. He decided I always wanted to go there, so now he's there. He's one of the best in the world right now, in my opinion. Kevin Owens, another great wrestler out of Canada. Fantastic wrestler.
So is he part
That's
of
gonna
the?
be a great match.
Wasn't that a whole family? No, that was Owen Hart. My bad. Okay.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bob. What's next?
No, I'm looking up this AJ Styles stuff,
Oh,
man.
come on, dude. Just ask. Tell who's on the cards
Oh,
for
okay.
crying out loud.
Let's see. Finn Balor versus
Who?
Bray Wyatt.
What?
Okay, here's one for you. Bray Wyatt. You know who he is? He is the son of Erwin R. Shyster, better known as IRS, tag team champ with $1 Million Man in the 90s.
Wow.
That's the son of Mike Rotunda. Yeah, Bray Wyatt.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Finn Balor is a wrestler out of England. I'm sorry.
Oh.
He's a pretty big superstar. He has an alter ego called the Demon. If you really tick him off, he'll paint his face up, and he comes out as like a different alter ego when you really, he comes into like that psychological character where he tries to get in your head like the Undertaker used to almost. Interesting character. That should be a decent match as well.
And then you got Raw's Women's Championship, Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks or Nia Jax.
Sasha Banks is the cousin of Snoop Dogg.
Whoa.
Believe it or not. I
Sipping
learned
on
that when
gin and juice.
he came out with her at WrestleMania a couple years ago, and they announced that they're cousins, this, that, and the other. I did some research, and it is true. Who was he fighting? I forgot about that one.
I'm going back up. Who was that?
You said what's the girl that's fighting?
Oh, Alexa Bliss. And
Alexa
Sasha
Bliss.
Banks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lex
Alexa's
Luger.
All I know is
Alexa's,
Rage's eyebrows went up when you said her name. He was like, "Whoa, yeah."
Google a picture, you'll see why, Scott. She's the current WWE Raw Women's Champion. She'll be defending against Sasha. It should be a decent match. The women's division's kind of going through some changes right now. They had a revolution, as they called it, but it's starting to die down, and they need to bring in some new talent as far as women go, for sure.
And then you've got the SmackDown Women's Championship, Naomi versus Natalya.
Natalya, I don't know if you guys know who she is. The only woman to ever graduate from Bret the Hitman Hart's father, Stu Hart's dungeon. The only women ever. She's the daughter of Jim Neidhart from the Hart Foundation back in the day with Bret Hart. So it's Jim Neidhart's daughter. She's a beast. And who are they fighting? Natalya.
Are you allowed
Naomi.
to call a woman a beast?
Naomi. She is a beast, man. You'll watch her wrestle. She's very good at what she wrestles like a man. She's very, very talented.
Girls can do anything that guys can do, so that's you just have to.
Do you agree with that, Derek?
Sure.
Dude, I just gave you the format to speak.
What
Since
are
you've been so
your
quiet, I
thoughts
just
on
gave
that,
you the
Derek?
Y'all
floor,
don't need to derail the thing. I'm enjoying listening to the card and to the description of the people.
Please, Lord, tell me there's no more matches. Is that
The
it?
Naomi, the one let me say real quick, the one Natalia's fighting is Naomi.
Yeah.
She's the first African American women's SmackDown's champion. She's
I've
also
seen
the daughter-in-law of Rikishi. You remember Rikishi?
Rikishi, he'd put his
Yeah,
sticky
the
butt
stink
on
face.
you. Yeah.
Naomi is his daughter-in-law. He married one of the Uso brothers, who are current SmackDown champions right now.
There you go. This is so good. I love this because he's got all the inside info.
Speaking of that,
Who else?
that's
Public
the next
knowledge,
one.
Scott. Public knowledge.
But I
The
like how you
Uso,
deliver it.
for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, the Uso versus the New Day. The New Day, believe it or not, was friends, brothers, cousins, uncles, aunts, sisters, brother-in-law of Ric Flair, which was actually pretty cool.
He's so full of crap.
Woo.
Boo.
No?
Woo!
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 Okay. No.
Everybody
Tell
had to
us
get
the
that
real
out.
truth about New Day since your brother tried to be funny.
The New Day was just they took three African American wrestlers who
Oh,
were kind of
yeah.
just lingering on the roster, and they put them together as these pretty much unicorn head wearing, dancing, silly guys. You know,
So they
have,
stereotyped the crap out of them, basically, huh?
oh, they stereotype. Yeah, it's borderline racism.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm trying to remember which one I watched, but they came out. I think it was WrestleMania.
The
they came out,
Bootios.
they came out and they were like the host of WrestleMania, and they came out and they were like dancing around and all this stuff, and I was like, "What is this? What are they doing?"
Yeah, and one of them from the New Day was the one. I don't know if you guys heard about this, and I'll keep it as PG as I can. The one that was in that sex tape scandal with the wrestler Paige.
Oh,
Recently,
Paige.
her phone was hacked, and there were some
boy.
very, very vulgar videos released.
Oh boy.
And it wasn't. Yeah, and Xavier Woods from the New Day was one of the people in the video.
Xavier, come on, dude.
And it's kind of funny. His show on the network is called a video game show on the network is called Up Up Down Down.
Oh my gosh.
And
what
his name
the
is
heck?
his last name is Wood.
Oh my gosh. So we're just so many good things.
The New Day, they won their title back at Battleground, and it's a rematch that's just meant to be.
Boring. Next.
Then you got Randy Orton versus Rusev.
What?
Don't
Rusev.
even know who that is.
The Bulgarian brute Rusev.
Rusev.
Wow, he is
yeah,
a
Rusev.
brute.
He's actually on Total Divas. He's married to Lana, very beautiful Russian/American. She's Russian, but she was born in America, but she speaks both. So her character on air is actually she's a ravishing Russian. He's the Russian brute. Rusev, and then you got Randy Orton, the son of Cowboy Bob Orton, Hall of Famer.
Way back in the day.
13-time WWE champion is Randy Orton. He'll be looking
I find Randy Orton boring, though.
I found Randy Orton boring for a very, very long time.
I'm always amazed that he became a superstar, because I think it just has to be because his dad was. Is that why?
They gave him a chance because of his dad. He was one of them guys that didn't have to go on the independents and wrestle in front of 100 people in a bingo hall. This guy pretty much got a shot, and kind of like John Cena, he never had to travel the roads and struggle. He was handed it, and he took it and ran with it like Cena did. He did a good job. You can't
You can't
and
see him.
I would like to see some wrestling at a bingo hall. That would be pretty.
Actually, if you come over to my house, Derek, there's a bingo hall
Right down the
within a
street.
mile, and there's wrestling there once every month or every
Are
2
you
months.
serious?
I actually know I know the promoter that runs that. I'm gonna have him on my show pretty
Oh
soon.
my
Be
God.
thine.
Yeah.
Okay.
you, brother,
Is there any more?
I
Is there any
45.
more matches? Please tell me.
The
that's
last
all.
official match, there's a couple more that are
Oh my
listed that are
gosh.
potential matches with John Cena.
What? And that's all the
yeah.
way at the bottom? You didn't even talk about John Cena yet?
Because it's not an official match yet
Oh.
at this point. So,
Okay.
well, yeah. The Hardy
Building
Boys,
storyline,
you know,
Scott.
all this stuff. So, the last one
I like
listed
the
here
Hardy
is
Boys.
The Big Show
Yeah.
versus Big Cass.
What is Big Cass?
Big Cass is a 7-foot guy. He's
Oh my
young,
gosh.
good-looking. Colin Cassidy is his name. He
Wow.
was recently in a tag team with a guy named Enzo Amore, who's
I've
kind
heard
of
that
like
guy.
you remember the little guy on Ice Age who was always trying to chase that nut. That's kind of like no, seriously. That's kind of
I
what
know what you're talking
Enzo's
about.
like. That's kind of what he's like. And recently, Cass turned on him because they've been together for 3 years and they've never held a tag title. So he turned on him. He turned into a heel, a bad guy.
Yeah.
And Big Show kind of had Enzo's back. So now they kind of formed. They're kind of doing what him and Cass were doing as a tag team now because he's still 7 foot. But so now it's going to be. I think what they're doing actually. I think they made it official on Raw last night because I was kind of skimming it. It's going to be Cass against Big Show, and I think they're going to suspend Enzo in a shark cage 15 feet above the ring,
Yeah.
so he can't interfere.
That's so
So,
funny.
big show, big cast. Sounds like a big match.
It is, badoonch.
That's-
Bob, is that the last one? Please.
That's not my best.
That's the last official match.
Okay.
Yeah.
And compare this to a card we'd see, and this is pretty much directed towards you, Bob. Think of it as compare that to a card we would have saw, sitting at our buddy Mikey's house in 1998. There's no comparison to the card, the talent, and I'm going to tell you guys why. There's a couple of reasons, and I'll keep it as brief as I can. The two reasons wrestling's not the same, not because Vince bought the competition. There's something in the business they call kayfabe, which is always staying in character even out of the arena.
Ugh.
Okay, the first time that was ever broken is when Hacksaw Jim Duggan was caught driving with the Iron Sheik, who is Iranian, and you got Hacksaw, and they actually got pulled over. They had open alcohol and controlled substance, and they got in trouble, and it was in the newspaper. So that's the first time they said kayfabe was broken. And now you see it all the time. Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, two guys that, wrestle on these cards, they were in a heated battle, which they're still fighting. They fought last night. These guys went on an overseas tour, and they were in the same picture posing in front of buildings. And it makes the wrestling unbelievable. We know it's fake. Make me believe it still.
No,
they're not doing.
No, see, I don't think that's it. And the reason I say that is because back in the day, you always had this goes way back, and we have some family in Tennessee that actually a lot of wrestlers used to go to our family's house. But way back in the day, you used to have guys like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Sergeant Slaughter, all these guys, Ted DiBiase.
Larger than life.
All these guys, they would hang out at the bar afterwards, after a show, and so I don't think that's. I really don't think that's affecting wrestling. I think
Andre
it's
the
just,
Giant would drink 2 kegs of beer.
Oh yes, he would. The thing
Probably
is,
because there's Instagram and Facebook, so
Yeah.
that stuff just gets out.
Social media is definitely not help with wrestling because now you always. I pretty much know what's going to happen on Raw before it even happens, and what's weird about it is it's live. But so much information gets leaked via internet, and it's all from WWE personnel,
Yeah.
And it's kind of hurt the business a lot. And we don't have them larger than life characters anymore.
Yeah.
Remember when the Undertaker came? When he first came in 1991, I believe he debuted at the Royal Rumble to help Ric Flair win the title, I believe, or Survivor Series. He debuted with $1 Million Man. Kids used to cry when he came down the aisle. They were terrified.
Or if you remember 95, 96, when Sting was making his debut back into WCW, when he had the black makeup, and he would just pop up out of nowhere. He would just be in random spots, and guys like Raven, the same thing with Raven. There would be nothing, and then boom, Raven would be there. So I think it's lack of character buildup, lack of good personality within the individual, and a lot of these names on the card, we don't know a lot of those names. And back in the day, if you were not a wrestling fan, you still knew who those people were. You still that was a household name.
Yeah.
So you could find somebody today that has never watched one episode of wrestling in their entire life. They'll know who Hulk Hogan is.
Yep.
They'll know who Andre the Giant is. They'll know who the Ultimate Warrior is, and Macho Man, and Sergeant Slaughter, and the Iron Sheik, and I can go on and on.
But even like The
They'll know
Rock
who they
and
are.
Stone Cold, people will know, of course.
They're
Yeah.
global, correct.
And think about that with wrestling. The last biggest names in wrestling. I mean, you've still got The Rock, and you've got Stone Cold, who The Rock's in and out of wrestling. Stone Cold's pretty much done with it. Then you've got a few names like John Cena. You don't have these big names like you did back in the day. And
You know why?
There's some big difference.
Why?
I can tell you why. A lot of them are turning down WWE and they're wrestling on the independent circuits. They're wrestling overseas because they can actually go there and do their craft. If you actually look it up, I can actually send you guys a message and a picture of it. There's actually a list surfacing the internet of rules for the wrestlers on things they can and cannot do. And the freedom of the wrestlers is no more. Like, they are literally told what they can say, what they can't. And in the Attitude Era, Stone Cold and The Rock used to go out there and shoot straight from the hip, and they're not allowed to do that anymore. To the extent that the announcers with their earpieces are being fed what to say. And you could tell because it's not coming off as that
Boring.
character saying it. You could tell it's forced, and it makes it not authentic. And the industry is hurting. Not the industry. The industry is great. WWE is hurting. I'll be honest. I watch New Japan Pro Wrestling over WWE because it's wrestling. I love wrestling for the art of wrestling. I trained. I went to wrestle. I've been in a ring. I wrestled in front of people. I love the art of actual professional wrestling. The soap operas aside. WWE put sports entertainment before the art of wrestling, and that's a big problem to me.
Well, the thing is, I think it's going to wind up taking something extreme like Vince McMahon dying in order to really change wrestling into something.
And someone we grew up with, Bob, said that on air, and they cut off his microphone, and that's Phil, CM Punk.
Well, and CM Punk, his real name's Phil Brooks. That's a guy that we kind of grew up with. I wasn't huge friends with him in high school, but we knew of each other. We've talked.
I wrestled with him in the World Wrestling Association out of Bourbonnais, Illinois for a while.
And LWF probably as well.
LWF,
when
yes.
we were part of working out and stuff with LWF, Lunatic Wrestling Federation. Yeah, I mean, he wound up leaving because they're pushing him back when he's injured, gonna really truly hurt himself, and he was a guy that's like, I'm not gonna take
so he
drugs.
decided to go be an MMA fighter
Yeah,
instead, where he doesn't get hurt at all.
Yeah,
That's
he got
right.
his butt kicked, but
I think what Punk's doing is smart. He's gonna try the MMA, and he's gonna do it. He'll be damned if he fails at it. I just know the guy's mentality. If he wants to accomplish something, he will. He told me a long time ago when he was like 22 years old, I'm gonna be in the WWE and I'm gonna be the champion. And for a number of he held the title for over a year. He was at one point the best actual technical wrestler in the world, and he looked me in the eye and said that to my father was standing right there.
He
one day he showed up on Sunday Night Heat.
He's my father too, just so you know.
He
My
was
dad
one of the
too,
guys that I was actually going to say that I think had the potential to be one of those really big stars again, and I felt like they didn't utilize him. And again, I wasn't watching consistently, but when I watched a couple of his matches, I was like, how is this guy not like the face of WWE right now? Because he was fun to
for
watch.
a short time. Yeah, he was.
He was
and
really
he'll
fun
be
to
back.
watch.
I guarantee it. When his contract's up, money talks, cash is king, and we'll see Punk in the WWE again.
That'd be fun.
Oh, he'll be back, but I think it's going to take a big change. Either Vince is going to be gone and have to step down or be forced down, or something. Something has to change within WWE to change exactly, all the problems WWE has today.
Right.
Okay, Derek. Final thoughts. Go ahead.
Rage, I want to know where to find your podcast at.
Shooting with Rage on YouTube. I'm in the process of trying to get on Podbeam, iTunes, and all that stuff. It just takes some time. Okay. Other than that, yeah, you can check it out on YouTube. I've been doing about 1 or 2 episodes a week so far. I just released episode 7 with my friend James from Dad Ass Podcast. So check that out. We're talking about TV series letdowns and like good endings. So check that out. It's about an hour and 4-minute long podcast. So grab a coffee and a pipe and sit back, relax, and strap it down because it's a pretty good one.
Nice.
Will do.
Derek, any final thoughts on the Summer Slam? Any ideas who you think is going to win any of the matches? Any favorites for us?
No idea. Maybe Brock Lesnar, because he's the one I remember or I know.
He's all puffy
not
now.
on this,
he's so
not
puffy.
on this card, by the way.
He just looks so puffy. He is. Yeah, you said his name. He said he's on there.
You did.
Oh, yeah.
He's in that 4-way fecal matter.
Oh yeah, the 4-way fecal matter match.
Anyway, all right. So let me wrap up the show here. Rage, first of all, it was so fun having you, man. You have so much good inside info on wrestling. We loved it.
Oh, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's cool to see you guys and talk to you. And like I said, I'm a big fan. So.
And it's fun to watch us pick on your brother, isn't it?
It is kind of fun.
It is.
Bring
definitely.
it, buddy. I'm good.
I'm the brother. Now I'm gonna be all tough.
Hey, rosy cheeks, I can hit right back. You know that. Look at those cheeks on this guy. He's laughing.
Are you talking about me?
Look at those. Yeah.
It's hot
Hey
in
Bob,
this room.
put him in your finishing move one day when you guys are meeting up for.
He'd break me in half. I'm old.
I would.
That move hurts. That move hurts. He used to torture me with it.
That's not nice. Now I know.
We used to do backyard wrestling.
Oh,
I was the guy that fell off a garage through 2 drywall tables that were on fire.
Bob, you should upload some of them VHSs to YouTube.
You should. That'd be great.
It was so bad.
Or send it to me. I'll upload it to my channel.
There you go. All right. So, as we said, Rage Lunatic, Shooting with Rage on YouTube. He's up to episode 7 now. Go check it out. It's Shooting with Rage. And he's got his own podcast. So go check that out if you'd like. And we are going to wrap up the show by saying this. We appreciate all the support that you guys give us. We appreciate the fact that you come and listen to the show. One thing I'd like to encourage people to do, if you get the chance, even if you don't listen to the show, but you're listening to this one, go to iTunes and give us a rating and give us a review. It's very good. It'll help us. Or like our Facebook page. Same thing with Rage. Do you have a Facebook page set up yet?
I do have Shooting with Rage on Facebook, Instagram,
He's on
Twitter.
I know that.
It's everywhere.
Okay. Go do the same thing for Rage. And that will help us out a lot. You might think, oh, that's stupid. What do we need to do that for? You just don't understand. It does help. It really does. It helps people know about us. It helps us get our name out there. And it helps us to grow the community, and that's what we want to do. So help us out that way. All right. Other than that, you can go check out our Teespring store if you want to get a t-shirt. Bob doesn't have his t-shirt on. I don't know what the heck's going on with that. Where's your t-shirt?
Well, because I wore it like all week.
Oh, okay. You had to wash it. You need to buy another one. I just bought t-shirts for other people. I didn't get one for myself because they don't have Flint tent and awning. Oh, I'm sorry, that's mean. I'm picking on myself. They don't have the right size. Anyway, but you can get yourself a t-shirt or a mug or a hoodie by going to teespring.com. Again, it's /HWT, right? Or is it Hey We're Talking?
No. I think it's like hey_talking.
Oh, jeez. Okay, the link is in the description.
In the
yeah,
Just
well, it's in the bucket.
Yeah.
It's down there.
In the bucket.
All right, it's in the doobly-doo, as some people call it. Anyway, teespring.com, Hey We're Talking. And last but not least, we want to thank our sponsor for this show, GameFly. If you don't know, GameFly is a way for you to play video games without actually owning the video games and investing all that money in video games. In fact, if you're smart and you like to play a lot of video games, why not just have all the games that you want the entire year? Well, here's the best way to start out. All you have to do is go to gameflyoffer.com/HWT. We'll give you 30 free days. If you go to that website, 30 free days of playing games from gamefly.com. So they have movies too. I want to mention that because the last time when we really talked about it a lot, for like 10 or 15 minutes, we didn't talk about the movies enough. They have movies, and the games are new. Don't think, oh, they're not even going to have the newest games. They're going to have the newest games, okay? If you want to play Madden, I think it's going to be, is it Madden 08? I think they just call it Madden 08. That's going to be available. You can get GameFly right now. Get ready, get in line, get Madden before the football season starts. Play it. You can use Jay Cutler on the Miami Dolphins. I mean, dude. Yeah.
Madden 18, you mean?
If you want to be 0-16.
Yeah, I said Madden 08. What am I? I'm 10 years behind, guys.
I just thought it was some kind of mental lapse. I'm like,
I know it was. I was like,
I'm just waiting for that iPhone 8, not an 08, but an iPhone 8.
Yeah, iPhone 8 or iPhone X, it might be. Anyway, gameflyoffer.com/HWT. Get on there, get your 30-day free trial. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. We want to thank Rage the Lunatic. Again, he's #1 in our book. Thank you very much for being on the show and talking wrestling with us. It was fun. We had a great time. And we will talk to you guys on Monday.